What's up guys, Tommy Bennett here. In today's video, I'm gonna give you something awesome to do on low light, not so awesome days, but with this video, I'm gonna help you make those days awesome. So we got some intermediate and beginner flat ground tricks. So throughout this video, I have a bunch of intermediate and beginner tricks that are gonna be sprinkled, not necessarily in a specific order, because I want you to be able to get inspired and hopefully see a trick that you think is awesome. So watch the whole entire video, because there's gonna be some awesome tricks at the end that you might miss if you thought it was too advanced for you, because it's probably not. With that said, there's going to be chapters at the bottom. You can even find the tricks that you want. Come back to this video over and over until you become amazing. And the first one we're going to start with is probably not a trick, but we're going to do an Ollie, which is a foundational movement to catch air and do awesome things. So with an Ollie, the biggest thing is making sure your shoulders, hips, and knees are stacked over the board, that you're looking in the direction you're traveling. And when you do an Ollie, the goal is to try to catch some air, but you're using a combination of your body and your board to do the movement. Now the first thing you want to do is I like to get low, and sometimes I'll shift forward, shift back, then pop. Sometimes I'll just retract my lead knee depending on how big I want to go, but I suggest trying both. So the sequence, you can always practice this while moving or in a static area just like I am. So I'm going to scoot back just a little bit so you can see my whole body. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to sink down, retract my lead knee, build pressure on that board, and then jump off the back foot so it looks like this. Notice that the board is actually flexing and I'm getting some oomph out of the board. Now we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna do it while moving. And as we do this, of course, manage your speed. I don't wanna go too fast, too slow in the beginning, but we're gonna do the same thing. Shoulders, hips, knees stacked, retract, pop. And you can really see that board decamber and see that board give me some extra oomph. If you're struggling with this trick, it's most likely because you're dropping your shoulders down at the hips and you're trying to do it like this. It's 10,000 times harder, but if you keep your spine upright, then it's not so bad. Now after that, the second trick we're gonna do is we're gonna do an Ollie. We're gonna try to grab Indy, which is gonna be your backhand between the bindings. We don't grab outside the bindings unless it's the tip and tail. So we're gonna Ollie, and I'm gonna bring my knees up, and I'm gonna try to just touch my board at first, and then the second time I'm gonna try to hold it a little longer, just like this. All right, here we go. In 1, 2, 3. At first, I'm gonna tap. Second one, I'm gonna try to go a little bigger, try to hold a little longer. Boom! You will notice that I had my eyes down, but I'm still landing in a balanced position. As I land, I wanna keep my knees out and try to absorb that impact like this. I felt like that was way easier, keeping my eyes up. Number 3, we're gonna try a tail grab. Now this is gonna be significantly harder because this requires you to do independent flexion extension. What that means is that my legs may independently flex or extending depending on the time. With this tail grab, I'm gonna have to Ollie, which also means that my tail is leaving the ground last, but then I gotta be able to retract this knee, extend this lead foot down just a little bit to make that grab a little bit easier. This might not be as beginner, but this would be a good challenge to work on to make you awesome. The last thing is you want to land with both feet at the same time so you don't clip your nose, because that is not sick. All right, here we go. Very first one, we're gonna do a nice little tap. Notice how quick this has to be. Just a tap, just mellow. But the legs move independently, and everything that we just did really applies to what we're doing, which is keeping the spine up, staying stacked. Look around, make sure we're not in a dangerous place. We'll try to hold a little bit longer. Boom. Notice that I'm not grabbing this part of my board. If you're grabbing there, that's a big no, don't do that. One of the big reasons you may grab there is because your lead shoulder's open and your shoulders naturally want to grab here, but if you're stacked, it's a lot harder to grab Tindy. Don't grab Tindy. The thing about Tindy is people will make fun of you behind your back but not actually tell you. They're just gonna laugh at you, and that's not fun. I'm here to save you. So again, stacked, look how hard it is to grab Tindy when I'm doing it right. We wanna grab tail. If you're wondering what Tindy means, it's tail and Indy combined, which is a no-no. Don't do that, it's not sick. After that, why not? We're gonna do a nose grab, which I find to be slightly easier. So if you're struggling with a tail grab, you're gonna Ollie, keep that lead leg up and try to grab the nose. Notice that I'm not diving forward and trying to grab nose, I'm letting the nose of my snowboard come up to my hand. So my hand's here, I'm gonna Ollie, grab. I'm gonna do that again, try to make it look a lot cleaner because it's kind of trash. Ollie, and then grab. I guess it's more of a tap than a grab, but that's totally okay. So after that, we're gonna cruise down. We're gonna get a little bit of speed, make sure we don't get stopped in this slow section. Thought she was waving at me, she really wasn't. The next thing we're gonna learn is gonna be a little basic frontside 180. Now I definitely suggest that you go in the description and check out my how to ride switch, because if you can ride switch, it makes frontside 180s 1,000 times easier because you're confident in landing and controlling your board afterwards. We're gonna make sure we're not in a blind spot. We're gonna just keep cruising a little bit further, making sure we're doing this safely. I'm gonna do this in about 3 different steps. When it comes to frontside 180, we really wanna make sure that we're getting our back shoulder to complete the 180 when we're first learning it. As we get better, we can definitely mess around with the back shoulder a little bit, but that's not for this video. Very first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get low. I'm gonna try to Ollie off that foot, and I'm just gonna jump to 90 degrees, and as I land, I'm gonna keep my toes up, and then I'm gonna finish with my shoulder. And this is a great progression. If you're not 100% confident in the 180, we can do this in nice steps. So I'm gonna go, wind up, pop, land, and then finish. And then of course I gotta come back, so I'm just gonna rotate back. Now we're gonna do this one more time. I'm gonna try to complete the whole rotation. I'm gonna wind up, I'm gonna throw, and I'm gonna get this back shoulder to point straight down the hill. Of course, always looking around. Wind up, throw, get that shoulder to finish. And then I'm gonna come back to my normal side. Ideally, you should be able to do a frontside 180 and then a cab 180, so definitely practice it. Now the third one is to try to go a lot bigger and make this look a lot cooler. So we're gonna get low, we're gonna pop, 1, 2, 3, pop. And then we're gonna slow down and we're gonna pop back. And we're gonna complete the 1-to-1. So I think that was number 4. Number 5. What did we do? That was 5, so we're going on to 6. Thanks, big shout out to the filmer for helping out. He wants to remain anonymous, so thank you, sir. All right, so after that, we are gonna do a fun little tail pressy. We're gonna Ollie and try to land in a tail press. Ollie, that was an Ollie. That was backwards. Ollie, tail press. Ollie. Now when I do this, now if you want to do this, definitely think about, you can do it in 2 different steps. 1, get your belly button to shift behind your binding and go here. Notice the spine is upright. Notice my body is nice and stacked. And notice that I'm in control, just leaning back. Also looking where I'm going. To elevate this trick, essentially if we can Ollie and then get into the tail press, that would mimic actually doing something like in the park. So we're gonna wind up, we're gonna load, Ollie, and land. One thing I will say is notice that my tail is separated from the ground to make this a little bit more authoritative. And of course, we can exaggerate the shenanigans out of this and try to get the biggest tail press that I can, but different boards are gonna make this easier or harder. You just gotta put a lot more effort into it. All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Ah! Woo. At this point, you may be asking, what kind of snowboard am I riding? I'm riding a Burton Process. No, I'm riding a Burton Blossom, and this is like a big jump board type board. It's really stiff, very rigid, very awesome for high speed stability, so it makes some of these tricks a lot harder. But that's all good. So the next thing we're gonna do, and I have no idea what we're on, but I'll label it down below, maybe 6, maybe 7, is we're gonna do a layback. Now this trick is super awesome. If you have bad shoulders, bad hips, or bad knees, take caution. What we're gonna do is we're gonna try to place both our hands behind our tail. And is the audio working? You just verify that? Okay, cool. We're gonna take our hands, put it behind our tail, and I'm trying to shift my outside of my hip as far over the tail as physically possible. Like this. What's up? What's up, dog?
What's up, brother?
How you been? How you been?
Always good, bro. Always
Freaking love it. I met this dude a while ago. Actually, you were in one of my videos. in a skate park in Dillon like 3 years ago, and he was in a wheelchair, and he's sending this down ramp in a wheelchair, absolute center, because you broke your heel, right?
Yep, both of them.
Both of them! Because he was sending a triple backflip.
Yep.
Gnarly.
I did.
Good to see you, man.
You too.
Appreciate you, dog. The vibes here are freaking awesome. If you ever see me in person, say hi. I'd love chatting with you guys. A little high five, a little vibe. Back to our layback. 3, 2, 1, layback. Notice I can get my hip really low. And then the reason I say that if you have bad shoulders, this position really lengthens your shoulder. It can be really challenging. And the way to get out of it is I think about pushing my lead leg back towards the ground and sweeping my legs underneath my belly button and then standing up. So it kind of looks like that. Now we're gonna do it one more time. Now as a visual example, I can do this very slowly. Shift back here, and then elevate this leg and then come back. Pretty fun trick, you know, especially when you have a low light day just like this. The next trick we're gonna learn is a tripod, which is another variation of the thing that we just did. Now the key is to do a toe side turn, also would be a backside rotation, placing my hands on the ground where my nose is, and then getting my back heel to kick up so that I can get on a tripod, meaning 3 points of contact. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Toe side turn here. And then for that one, I kept the momentum going. This next one, I'm gonna try to grip with my hands a little bit more and try to stabilize it, but also minimizing how hard I get into this. So here, get into it. Now I can just chill. If you have your balance right, you can do like all sorts of fun stuff. And then as I get out of it, I'm just trying to do a nice 180. I find that to be easier, backside, frontside, a lot easier. All right, that is a tripod. Okay. Now we're gonna get into a backside 180 because I feel backside 180s are a great trick, very respected in the industry, as well as it leads to a lot of bigger tricks, the landing of bigger tricks. So, very first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do a little pop. We're gonna land 90 and we're gonna finish our rotation so that our board completes 90 degrees, but I actually wanna keep the logo of Benetech, which is my goggle company. I wanna keep this logo facing uphill, land on my toe side, establish control, then I will look down. Here in a second, I'll show you exactly why. 90 degrees, logo uphill, then look. Okay. The biggest reason, I'm gonna show you why. If I do a full 180 and I keep my shoulders going, you end up doing this. You rotate out, it looks lame. It's not cool, you don't own it, it's not sick. So we wanna own it and we slow our rotation by allowing our shoulders to be uphill. Pop, land on the toes in a counter rotated position. But also notice I kept my spine upright as I landed. I didn't hunch over to do this. Right? I kept the spine upright so it looks like this. What up, boss? So then as I'm landing, if I keep my spine upright, I can be in a better balance position. And then of course I can do it switch. And then look in the direction you're going. Cool. What's up? Battery. Be back in a second. So now we're gonna get into something that I normally don't do, but my anonymous filmer had said I should try them, and I definitely agree. We're gonna do some nose rolls and tail rolls because this is a great test of balance, agility, coordination, and it's just fun. So the very first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna start switch, but you can start regular, and I'm gonna put weight over my lead foot. I'm gonna swing my back foot around and just try to do a 180 while leaving the lead leg on the ground, just like this. Now, notice when I did that, I had a lot of control, and I wasn't just trying to do one of these. I'm in nice control, shifting my weight, and now we're gonna try to exaggerate a little bit more. Boom. And the best part is you can do this front side or back side, also like clockwise, counterclockwise. In snowboarding, it's called front side, back side. But we could do that front side, or we can do it. Oh, I almost lost it. All right, 1, 2, 3. We can get a nice, really exaggerated one. And I love the backside variation and driving the nose into the snow. The biggest thing is keeping my body stacked, everything nice and aligned, getting my chest up, and I'm really trying to retract that back leg and look over my shoulder. Boom. Notice I am landing on my toe side. Now, of course, we could also do the tail. So this one's a little bit more challenging because I gotta retract my lead leg, and I actually have to keep my back leg bent for a lot of it, and then I gotta extend and push that leg underneath my center of mass. And if I don't, it just doesn't complete it the way it should. So it looks like this. So I'm gonna retract, and as well as I do that, I'm pulling my heel, my back, or my lead heel behind me. I don't know if we can see it on camera. I'm gonna slow-mo it. Do that here. Boom. Definitely some fun variations you can do with that. I'm gonna do it one more time. What's cool about a lot of these tricks, you can start small, build it up. Now we're gonna try a fun little combination of doing the next trick is making this way more challenging by trying to complete a 360 without dying. Woo! I will tell you right now, that is not friendly on the hip. If you don't know, I had hip surgery over the summer, and I shouldn't even be snowboarding right now, but we are. So we're gonna do that again. Woo! That is a wild one. Ooh. Now we can try it in any of these variations. So this makes this almost infinite combination. Let me try frontside, tail, 360. Oh, I kind of cheated that. We'll do it again. There. Ooh. Not the cleanest, but a good time. Not bad at all for the hip. But again, the principle throughout this video stays the same. Balance, strong, stack, moving, counter rotations at time. Definitely a good freaking time. Now, the next combination we're gonna get into is a little bit advanced, but it is a freaking good time. And you definitely have to make sure you have switchback ones, back ones, on lock, and your landings on toes. So watch this. I'm gonna try to do 4 back-to-back edge rolls, but like carve to carve. It's gonna be crazy. Watch. I don't know the name of it. Maybe there's not. Make sure there's no people around, because there is. All right. Hi, how are you? I love you. Okay. We're gonna drop in and go backside. Switch backside, backside, switch backside. Take out my filmer. Woo! The best part about all this is you can literally start combining a whole bunch of these combinations. And I haven't really talked about this in YouTube videos yet, but one thing you can do is play a game of add-on with a friend. It looks like this. I'll Ollie, the next person might set an Ollie to 180, and then the next person will set Ollie 180, 180, and all of a sudden, you start playing around with all these crazy combinations with your friends, but it also starts to train you. How can you take off and land in a balanced position, in a controlled position, so that you can do another trick, another trick, another trick, versus like, instead of doing an Ollie, waiting 6 months, 6 months later, 180, 6 months, 6 months, 180. It's just sick to be able to go. And that's where you start to elevate your snowboarding, because you're able to maneuver, groove, and have a good freaking time. Now the last trick in this video is gonna be a challenging one, and if you have busted shoulders, please be wary. We're gonna learn a cartwheel. This is really challenging. Now the goal is to not go super fast. A lot of speed is actually not good for you. I wanna take I like to start on my heel side edge, because I wanna be able to stay stacked over my belly button. If I start on my toe side edge, it's really easy for us to collapse. So what I want to do is take my lead hand and place it just in front of my board. And then I want to extend off of my lead knee, get that board to fling me up. My backhand goes over, and I'm getting a huge oblique stretch, pulling my body up and over. Now this is an advanced trick. Please be cautious if you have bad shoulders or wrists. And we're gonna try to make some moves. Look around, make sure we're not gonna die. Get the helmet sorted, the goggles all rocking. And we're gonna go 3, 2, boom. As I'm in the air, I'm trying to sweep my board underneath my center of mass, not get my center of mass over the board. I'm gonna do that one more time. Just like that. What's up, dog? Woo, fantastic. So on that note, my dudes, we're gonna end that there. Hopefully you liked the video and definitely come back and visit the channel because I have a whole bunch of nerd, but come back and visit the video because you can just go watch that all over again. You guys are amazing, nothing but love. We out.